Federal character give you waiver certificates to recruit 90 something, not up to 100. Before you come back, the figure equally change. In addition to discrepancies of federal character balancing in your nominal role, respond to what honorable members require you to clarify before we move forward.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman and distinguished honorable members of this top committee. I want to believe that we have our submission before us, the submission that we gave coming from NITA and following the laid down guideline for the presentation of such submission. If we do, by the grace of God, we have the table of content. And in the table of content, we have arranged them serially to make it easy for the presentation. On it, we have all the records of waivers and approvals granted between 2015 to date, which is seen in pages 1 to 5. Then we have all lists of recruited staff between 2015 to date, their state and local government of origin, from pages 6 to 10. In the same manner, we have our nominal roll as at 31st December 2015 to date, with the state and local government of origin, from pages 11 to 40. The nominal roll as at 31st December 2016 to date, their states and local government of origin, from pages 41 to 79. We also have, similarly, the nominal roll as at 31st December 2017 to date, their state and local government of origin, on pages 80 to 118. We have the nominal roll as at 31st December 2018 to date, their state and local government of origin, from pages 119 to page 152. And we have the nominal roll as at December 31st, 2019 to date, their state and local government of origin, from pages 153 to 195. We have the nominal roll as at 31st December 2020 to date, their state and local government of origin, from pages 196 to 238. We have the nominal roll as at 31st December 2021 to date, their state and local government of origin, from pages 239 to 282. We can move on to the next page. We have the nominal roll as at 31st December 2022 to date, their state and local government of origin, on pages 283 to 322. Then we have the nominal roll as at 25th July 2023 to date, that is just barely a month plus. Their state and local government of origin, from pages 323 to 361. Thereafter, we have as number 4, serial number 4, all lists of successful candidates and criteria adopted for their recruitment stroke qualification, on pages 362 to 367. Serial number 5, all details of waivers granted by the Federal Character Commission for recruitment stroke replacement exercise conducted or being conducted, as well as reasons and criteria for such waivers. This can be seen on page 368. Serial number 6, all evidence stroke certificates of compliance from Federal Character Commission for such exercise, on pages 369. Finally, serial number 7, all records of staff recruitment of all federal ministries, departments and agencies, MDA, parastatal and tertiary institutions on the IPPIS, that is on the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. This can be seen on pages 370 to 372, sir.
Thank you. To cite information that they can ask question about. So at least you are one of the agencies that in terms of putting together the requirement of this committee, you did well. Any member can take this bulky document and go straight to where we need to ask you questions and what have you. So we commend you for that. But be that as it may, perhaps you are able to manage and do this clearly. If you have managed to pronounce the name of your agency, I'm sure it will not be difficult for you to come together with this document. You said the short form, madam, you are the one that did last was what? NITA. It's better I say NITA. Otherwise I will be trending from. So thank you. The DG, is it MD or DG? DG for. Okay.
Because that's acting, like acting director general.
Thank you. We have little issues that if you address them, the only thing that we don't have here is the gap, the finances, the funding, the personal cost. In the cost of the existence of your agency, there exists a gap in terms of exits of your personnel, retirement, some will change service. We need to have the information regarding to that. How many people have retired in the service from 2015 till date? Have you replaced them, or the vacuum is still there? What happened to their salaries, the money that is supposed to be paid to them? Because if people retire, you don't take the personal cost off the agency. You leave it there. The committee is asked by the House of Representatives to trace the whereabouts of those funds. So I think it was yesterday we began to remind agencies of that aspect of submission. And I'm very sure you will do justice by giving us the details hereafter, not now. But in the whole of the things you mentioned, we have our own analysis of your document. What is more important to us first is that the head of civil service need assessment before recruitment is missing in your report. We need you to comment about that. Just take note. Where is the needs assessment report from the office of the head of service before all those waivers and compliances are issued to you? After we interact with you, you will begin to understand that this committee will not be equally be intimidated by the bulk of your documents. So, secondly, before I yield the floor to my colleagues to serve as a platform, federal character is a constitutional requirement. It is not just a circular from the office of the head of service or from the office of the secretary to the government of the federation. It is a requirement, it's a provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for agencies to adhere to federal character. And we know the repercussion of insulting the provision of federal character. In the whole of your report, considering the nominal roles, Kogi have 7. The highest is Ibonyi, that have 12 personnel. In the recruitment of 85 successful candidates that was done in your agency perhaps in 2018, you decided to pick 12 from Ibonyi, followed by Kogi and Kano, that have, followed by Imo, that have 9. 11 from Ibonyi, followed by Imo 9, Kogi and Kano 7 each. Adamawa, Gombe, Plateau, and Ondo 5 each. Nasarawa 3 and Oyo. Benue 2. Delta 2. Taraba 2. Then Borno 1. Katsina 1. Yobe 1. Niger 1. Adamawa 1. Edo 1. Enugu 1. Sokoto 1. Osun 1. FCT 1. Lagos none, and so many other states 0. If you are to recruit 85 candidates, and if we agree federal character is a provision of the Constitution, it's not a mere, I will call circulars mere circulars, if I am to compare it with the provision of the Constitution, because the Constitution is supreme than any other rules that seems to govern our public service. This is 85 recruitment is an insult to the provision of federal character, because there are states that have no representation and you decided to pick 12 from Ibonyi. Some state 9, Imo, Kogi 7, and Kano 7, followed by Adamawa, Plateau, and Ondo. Why? We are not asking you to answer. Anyway, respond before my colleagues will, maybe from your response to you.
Honorable Chairman, maybe by the time you finish and they put all the questions together, maybe we'll respond one by one, sir, with your kind permission, sir.
Thank you.
Apply for waiver because they do not want to advertise and give Nigerians the best of opportunities to get gainfully employed. We have seen that very clearly, so we will not go there. But then, even when you have applied for waivers and you get waivers, how do you recruit your personnel? We want to know. How do you source for applicants? We want to know. And we also want to know when you sort for your applicants, how do you ensure that the federal characterization is still respected? Because a waiver is not and cannot and will not mean violation of federal character balancing index. Thank you.
Yes. You have the short and long list. If you have the long list of those that applied, it now helps us to justify, or you can justify how you arrive at that night. So we will you need to clarify why the numbers of candidates approved by date of service is different from the one approved by the federal character. Also, we also want you to supply us with the short and long list of the applicant. Also, I may also want to know, as at 2018, when we did this exercise, the DG of that agency, I want to know his state of origin, the state of origin of the DG of the DG that conducted this exercise in the 2018. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. To the approval of the head of service. And again, federal character gives you waiver certificates to recruit 90 something, not up to 100. Before you come back, the figure equally change. In addition to discrepancies of federal character balancing in your nominal role, respond to what honorable members require you to clarify before we move forward.
And major mandate is related to this, please. to answer to these questions.
I want to start by answering this question. The name of the then Director General of the Institute, as at the time, that was 2018, when the replacement exercise took place. His name happens to be Dr. A.C. Igwe. Dr. A.C. Igwe from Imo State, sir. And the list of the applicants, you know, in this institute, in Nigeria, there are times that applicants will submit applications, unsolicited applications. So we have such. And during that time, we have unsolicited applications, and applications were also brought at that point in time. The approval given by the head of service was 80, and the one by the Federal Character Commission, 90. But I must say here and then that I was not directly in charge. I will tell you exactly what the situation is, sir. Presently, I'm the Acting Director of Human Resource Management Department. And I think as at that time, I was just a principal officer, sir. Sir? He has retired. The person in charge, as at that time, has retired from service, sir.
We are listening to you.
Yes, sir. And
in any case,
yes, sir.
I was giving you space so that you resource department in particular.
Yes, sir. This work that, this submission that is before you, Mr. Chairman, was prepared by me based on what I have in the files. Yes, sir. So I combed the files, and this is the outcome of what.
So this one pertained to you as a
Yes,
principal
sir.
officer.
Yes,
When
sir.
they were doing the recruitment,
Yes, sir.
you don't know anything about it.
I was not part of
My
the
colleague
decision.
is busy asking me to say, were you sleeping?
No, I wasn't.
Huh?
I wasn't sleeping, sir.
So what happened that you don't have any information about that?
You know, when we have directors, deputy directors, assistant directors, and the decisions, and the DGs, sir, and possibly the council, decisions are taken at that level, my chairman, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So both of you, the officer overseeing who is here responsible for your agency,
Yes, sir.
assuming we admit what you said, that you are principal officer,
Yes, sir.
and you gave this report based on the record that exists in the agency.
Institute, yes, sir.
I appreciate, and we commend even you for opening up to give us the document that a gap that existed from the approval of federal character, head of service, figure keep on fluctuating upward. I think this is the only agency we have seen this kind of a thing, where head of service will approve 80 for you. You go to federal character and request for more than 90. You are to request
For the exact number.
for waiver based on the approval of the head of service. I hope the DEX officers are taking note. If head of service approve that to you, it's based on the need assessment that they approve 80 for you to recruit. But you decide to, there was no purpose for you to even apply to the office of the head of service if you know that you are not going to restrict yourself within the approval of the head of service to request for the waiver for 80. You requested for 96 or so. And they haven't granted you waiver for that number. You recruited over 300.
No, sir.
But the certificate of compliance is reading how many?
No.
90?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
90, sir.
You recruited 89.
89.
Okay.
89, sir.
You are granted waiver for 80?
For 80.
For 80?
Yes, sir.
By the head of service?
Head of service, yes, sir.
But you recruited beyond the waiver and beyond the approval of the head of service. And those people are earning salary. This is what the National Assembly, on behalf of the Nigerian people, asks us to find out. And that's why we requested for DEX officers. And again, the IPPIS, that will always tell you that in their capture, they only capture, haven't compared the approval of the head of service, the budget office, and the federal character before they capture. Why did they capture beyond the approvals of the head of service as well as the federal character? You employ recruited beyond head of service and federal character approval. Now IPPS capture you. And again, federal character as usual granted you certificate of compliance instead of them to query that this is not the way number. This number that you recruited is beyond the waiver we have granted to you. So, would you now feel comfortable, or will you feel that we have not done the right thing if National Assembly recommended for a sanction against this agency for violation of approvals and laws? Would you feel that we have not done the right thing? Is a yes or no answer? Director.
Honorable Chairman, sir.
Yes, speak to your mic. Yes.
Honorable Chairman, sir. I wouldn't say that you have not done the right thing, sir. I think that is one of the major reasons why this ad hoc committee was formed. But there are some things, please, why you want to take such sanctions. I would appeal that there are some things that they tend to put
we take notice of that it was done not under your watch.
Not only that, I can't say that exactly, sir, because I know government is a continuum. But honestly, we really do not know much about it. So your submission is very correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Furnish this committee with the last information regarding to the personal cost. Your retirees, your staff that have existed.
All right, sir.
They are no more in the agency. How much? How many are they? And what is the salary implications of those staffs? So that we will equally know which agency of government is responsible for keeping that balance, whether it still exists or it has disappeared, or snake have swallowed them. We will find out some of those ones. Thank you. Kalambena, Honorable Kalambena. Then Jafar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This kind of lopsidedness, because I believe that in every state of this federation, we have highly qualified people that can fit into any agency in this country. And like mentioned earlier by the chairman, it is actually a constitutional requirement for you to comply with. What are you doing about that? Thank you.
Much for that question. Upon assumption of office, one of the questions that was asked was, I was appointed on the 22nd of July, 2022. So I'm just barely a year, maybe some few weeks now. One of the things that I promised is that we would adhere and work by due process, by the grace of God. And we've started looking at that. I've worked with not only my Director of Human Resources, but I've been carrying along my management. We make sure that the management will table everything that we need to do accordingly. And each management staff must talk. You cannot just tell me you concur or you agree with what did you agree with? And we put this thing, it is recorded very well. To be direct to the question you asked, one of the things we noticed was that They have been saying maybe because of insecurity and so on and so forth. But before insecurity, what happened? You understand me? And so we decided to face, particularly Northeast. And today, I can tell you, we have established a zonal office that has been in Gombe State now, and we are working. In fact, as it is now, in the next 3 weeks, we are going to meet with the executive governor, and
we are not asking for your achievement in your agency.
Yes.
He's asking you, what are you putting, what machinery? He pointed out to you later from the federal character,
Yes,
in your submission, that even the federal character themselves,
yes,
at one time, had frowned at your lopsided
yes,
employment and appointments.
yes, sir.
So, and return over the views of this committee. At the end of the day, we will have our own recommendations and resolutions that about all the agencies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you are talking about establishment of zonal offices and Gombe and the governor and this. I don't think that is relevant to the question in any way.
Okay, to be precise, we have decided and we have promised by the grace of God to work on the non-researchers. The non-researchers are to retire at the age of 60, or when they have put in 35 years of experience. Whereas in the case of researchers, even if they have put more than 35 years of age, of length of service, they are to retire at 65 years of age. And where we eventually have maybe research professor, they are to retire at 70, just like academic research institute.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you. The request regarding to person.
You mention your name in the gap. So, old session. I do solemnly and sincerely swear.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
Affirm that the testimony I shall give before this committee
Affirm that the testimony I shall give before this committee
shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
The submission for recruitment exercise we carried out in 2022. Let me just try to tell you about the council, because we are just new. We are 3 years old. The Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology was established by the Establishment Act 2019, and then we started off during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. We are to regulate the practice and profession of those people that read food science and technology in Nigeria. And we are domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. Our office is in the Secretariat, Federal Secretariat Complex, Phase 2. So we are just 3 years now, and we have only made one recruitment. And based on that, we have approvals from the relevant government institutions for the employment in 2022. We recruited 65 personnel. The approvals we have are listed in the submission, the page 2 of our letter to the chairman of the ad hoc committee. We have head of service waiver granted on 10th of March, and then that of Federal Character Commission for revalidation waiver for advertisement granted on the 16th of March. The waiver was based on the few numbers of staff to be recruited. Then we have copies of the clearance from Budget Office of the Federation. Then we have the report of the recruitment exercise and approval letter from the ministry approving the recruitment of the 65 persons. And then we have the list of recruited persons. Sorry, before then we have compliance certificate from Federal Character Commission. It has a number 00208. Compliance with the 65 personnel we were asked to recruit. Then we have submitted also list of staff recruited, the 65 numbered. And then we have nominal roles of both the recruited and the seconded and posted staff. When we started off without staff, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology was gracious enough to second some staff to us, both the staff and other posted from other MDAs like the Accountant General's office in that nominal role. Then we have payroll of staff. That payroll is not completed because right now some of the staff are yet to receive their salary. Then we have the criteria adopted for the qualified officers recruited based on the civil service rules, and for the fact that the council is new and is to regulate professionals.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Thank you.
How you shared the slots among the various agencies that gave you approval? Because I can't believe that an agency of this nature will exist and you have this kind of distribution. That's my position, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So let it go.
Thank you. Take notes. Who will be granted to them. Commissioner, Honorable.
List. To guide us,
Abba.
and for us to really know what really happened, you said that 422, please correct me, 422 candidates applied for this exercise, out of which you selected 60. Can you please forward this committee the list, the long list of those that applied with their phone number, state of origin, and
with all their details. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last question. Well, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, came from the Code of Conduct Bureau. You can identify that letter, and that letter in paragraph 2 of that letter simply indicated that, however, the Bureau wished to draw your attention to the serene imbalances in the spread of candidates in this current exercise, and went further. It's also an affirmation of the concerns raised by my distinguished colleagues as to your violation of character balances recognition in your recruitment. So I join my colleague to say that a list of applicants as so demanded will be required to see whether you were able to even get people from other locations. And anyway, since you did not even advertise, so we will not expect that you have, quite large number of applicants. So take note of that document.
I think for that document as required by a lot of members of this committee, ranging from the last two speakers, in addition to the details of your personal cost and the salary allocated to each of the officers that work in your agency. It's beyond your agency the abnormalities we've seen in this, because you are to be guided. You are given a waiver, which we are against the waiver. They are given waiver so that we will do this recruitment in closed door and church change other Nigerians. Haven't done it in an unbalanced manner the way it is, federal character that ought to ensure you comply with the principle of federal character, issued certificate of compliance against the uncompliance. Because they did not comply with the principle of federal character, and yet certificate of compliance is issued to them. So when we are talking, they will say we talk about one agency. In fact, it will get to a level that National Assembly will recommend even the IPPIS should not capture an unbalanced employment, because we have 6 geopolitical zones, and you do recruitment that only 2 geopolitical zones are represented. So in your submission again, you spoke about the incomplete nature of the list because some staff have not received their salaries. Please give us a proper submission. Paginate them with table of content and put all the requirements we want and reappear before this committee on Tuesday. Thank you. And they are in the nominal role, but they have not received salaries. So that's what we are supposed to investigate, the reason why salaries have not been paid to staff, reasons why federal character is not embedded in your report, reason why we'll sort out that. So please, paginate them, put them properly like you had us commenting about other agencies. Submit before Friday, then you appear.
Mr. Chairman, sir, my document should be validated. It violates our extant rules. I cannot sit down here as a Nigerian citizen. I speak all the languages, the major languages in this country. I'm a thoroughbred Nigerian. There are an agency that draw funds from taxpayers' money. And ma'am, you sit down, you sit over this agency, and you are happy that you don't have a Nigerian community in your establishment. And just 2 zones are sitting in a place and manning an agency that we all contribute all our taxes to feed. Mr. Chairman, we should take this matter very serious.
I think everybody have heard me loud and clear, plus using the gavel. How do we interrogate all those things you are identifying without the proper submission of the report to the committee? Can you talk about Nigerian community when the chief executive officer of the agency herself is saying that some staff in that agency are not even receiving salary? It means we need to know more about that agency. And we can only get to know more if a proper submission is given to us with the personal cost, with the state of origin and local government of those personnel. That will give us more ideas of validating the status of the recruitment done in that agency. You cannot start a new agency with an unbalanced recruitment. So we will look into that, and only if the right thing is given to us. We cannot have any way forward with this. Paginate them with table of content. These are the recruitment. This is the report, the long list as demanded by some of our colleagues here of those people that apply and the short list. So that will give us the idea of interfacing. So give us before Friday and appear by 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, the honorable members of the esteemed committee.
So you put your name in the gavel. I, your name. Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
affirm that the testimony I shall give before this committee.
Dr. Oji, Ogbonnaya Oji, I'm the Executive Secretary.
Go ahead from where you stopped, don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
So that conference in South Africa established the basis for currently 57 member countries that are either blessed in oil, gas and mining, natural resources to come together as a global organization approved by the United Nations and empowered to domesticate implementation in member countries. So Nigeria joined that organization as a founding member in 2003, began implementation in 2004, and established NAITI the same year. And the National Assembly felt it was an important initiative and backed it up with a law in 2007, the NAITI Act of 2007. And our job is to provide transparent and accountable oversight of the oil, gas, and mining sector by establishing precisely what companies pay to government every year and what government received, and how the money is utilized. And when this initiative came on board, between that 2004 and 2010, it was run as an ad hoc arrangement supported by global development partners, especially DFID. So there was no formalized structure. But by 2007, when the law was passed, the National Assembly recommended that there should be a formalized structure. So the first set of employment ever done in NAITI was in 2010. In 2010, that's when all of us came. And many of us came as experienced hire. I came from the mainstream public service. There were others that came from the public sector and private sector, and many from the civil society, and many from the extractive industry companies. So, honorable members, our job has been very impactful. We were the one that discovered, our reports revealed that when we publish our report, we bring them directly to the National Assembly that has the power in the law to cause change to happen by using the information and data we have provided to provide oversight functions. We recommended in our report, the first report we did, that the only law governing the sector was the Petroleum Act of 1957, amended again in 1959. And between that time and that period we made that disclosure, there was no law, only regulations, decrees, authority, and directives that were running a sector that was providing the revenue for our industry. So we felt it was important. We worked with the National Assembly, but for over 18 years, the petroleum industry bill we recommended never came to see the light of day until the last 9th Assembly that had the courage to pass that law. And it's also on the passage of that law, linking my presentation, that provide the basis for us to re-energize and develop a 5-year strategic plan. The 5-year strategic plan we developed emphasized the need for us to strengthen our workforce, because between that 2010 and 2022, there was no employment. So over that period, we developed a 5-year strategic plan. And the strategic plan underlined the need that our workforce was aging. Many people who came there had died, some had retired, and so many other people were no longer there. So we had a staff strength that was very
Executive Secretary,
sir,
we will flow with you very well from the spread before recruitment exercise, showing a lot of imbalances.
Yes.
We will not be going front and back.
Yes.
You have a nominal role, complete nominal role of your agency,
Yes, sir.
indicating only the geopolitical zone states, yes, is there, and the geopolitical zones those people comes from. You will do us a favor too. Come up with a report like this. We have the requirement. You will say, number one, all records of waivers in this, from this page, you give us table of content, paginate those approvals, instead of us taking paper one after another. You did one analysis that I like personally, it's here. So let this analysis be applicable to the nominal role. From this date, we need a summary page of your nominal role.
Yes, sir.
How many staff do you have from each of the 36 states of the Federation? Instead of us now using our eyeglasses to trace the geopolitical zones, the states which are mixed up, we will need them. 1, 2. This is for the recruitment. I have it. This is for staff after recruitment exercise. After the recruitment exercise, they do this.
Sir, before recruitment and after, they're all there, sir.
Okay, before recruitment and after.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming. That is why if it's come with table of content, we will not have much issues.
So every information is there, sir. Every.
Okay.
If you
Okay,
check,
now you have mentioned you recruited. First recruitment was in 2010.
yes, sir.
Second recruitment when?
September last year.
September last year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, only 2 recruitment was met.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
I was, if you allow me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we didn't just get up to recruit. There were bases for the recruitment, and that was where I was coming to. Because I requested that if we are recruiting,
Yes. Legislative manpower and that of the executive are very expensive. We've seen your detailed submissions in black and white. The referral from the House to this committee is to look into issue of employment racketeering, mismanagement of IPPIS, various appropriations made on personal cost. That's the focus of this engagement. This parliament gave birth to your agency, so we are familiar with your mandate, and I appreciate your explanation as per justification for bringing the agency on board. So the issue we are looking at critically is the employment processes. The needs assessment for you to, we've seen your submission, and from the approval given you from the head of service, which was 120, it appears the budget office gave you 70 from the document I've seen here. So those are the issues we want you to speak to.
Can I?
The approval, the number you got from head of service, the approval, the number you got from budget office, and then the number you got from federal character.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, the 120 structure that we're giving was inclusive of the current staff and the number we needed to recruit. It was not any, the 70 from the budget of it was the new, outside the existing. So, and out of that 120, our current strength now is 113. We didn't even reach that 120 because the need assessment we did was specific on what we need to do.
So you need 7 more.
Sir?
So you need 7 more.
We will be glad if you
you have the approval already now. I'm just following the record.
Yes, sir. We did it because it might be more than 7 because there were also people that were emerged from this exercise that didn't take up the appointment for one reason or the other.
Maybe you don't pay a living wage.
They looked at our distance and they had a more distant and left.
So that is the narration we want to hear.
Yes, sir.
Both the manpower assessment that you got was 120.
120,
both
including
the old and the new.
Yes, sir.
120.
Yes, sir.
So as we speak at 113, but you took the 70, isn't it? You recruited the 70.
70, and out of the 70, not all took up.
How many human beings are not? You can't divide human beings. Speak to a number. Out of the
only 68.
68. So two didn't show up.
Yes,
those are the narration.
yes.
Those are the things narrative want to hear.
Yes.
So, and then.
So, but those.
What number? What number did you sit to federal character, head of service budget? Those are the things we want to hear. You are a very kind person.
Sir, but to be honest with you, we didn't cede any number to anybody. I was specific, sir. If you check our,
did IPPIS insert some names?
I'm coming, sir. If you check our assessment, sir, you will see that the emphasis was on young staff because we were old, aging, we were top heavy. We said, and most of the people who we want to recommend We say assistant director, we say we don't need young staff. And we had a policy in it because we were not recruiting. From 2010 to when we did, every year we have intelligent young people that are sent to us for service. Many of them do very well, first class, and we are not the one that sent them, NYSC. And we are one agency that refused to block our way to NYSC. We said many of us passed through the scheme, and it will be on.
I think we should talk to the issues, please.
So I'm just saying how we, okay, sir. The issue I'm trying to make is that we had enough resources to draw from. So we didn't yield any. So we did
so in the record you gave us,
yes, sir.
Did you give us the clear picture of the staff recruited and those that didn't take off the recruitment in these documents you have given us? Did you give us the details of the personal cost as mentioned by Chief Wale? Okay. Did you tell us in clear terms that this is the approval received from the Office of the Head of Service, and this is the waiver we are able to get from federal character, and this is the balance of what is expected to be received from federal character? That's why I said, anyway, go ahead and...
Sir, I know how busy you are, sir, but if you had the time to go through this report, all the information are here. The approvals are here, sir. I have here the approval from the Office of Head of Service, is here. The waivers from the Federal Character Commission.
Now, listen. This is one document from one agency. He knows where to go to see waivers. He knows where to go to see approvals. He knows where to go to get all information. You have not done that. You are giving us one agency, one document, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do we speak to the document?
I agree with you, sir. I only follow...
Because civil servants have one technical way of making you not to get the points. It is only people like, I'm not saying I am better or Wale okay is better. There are some of us that have a lot of papers before us. To package it and interact with you the way Chief Wale Oke is doing is very difficult. So respond to those issues he said. In my opinion, we may not exhaust what we are talking. He have asked you how many waivers you've gotten in the few documents I have seen. You've gotten 50 waivers at an instance, 20 again, making 70. Isn't it? I've seen those. The approval from the head of service was far beyond that. You are equally giving us useful information that even in the 70 you recruited, some of them did not take the opportunity. How do we speak to those information you are giving us for us to arrive as a decision based on your agency? Unless you put this thing for us in a clear black and white. Are those people that refuse to take? If you have not supplied information to us, we can assume they are here or they are not here. If you give me a waiver of 70, you are giving me nominal role. I will assume the 70 you are recruited are in the nominal role. Now you are saying that even in the 70, some of those that were employed did not take the appointment. Something is missing. We are not inducting you. We are only telling you that we need a proper organized report than this so that we know how to speak to those issues. Nyam, and you are saying minyam. So I want to say it clearly here that please let us, as a matter of fact, not take any report of indictment against anybody. This committee have not inducted the registrar of JAM, and we have not inducted any institution. You can only say that after we submit our report. Registrar, you are distracting us, please. We don't do that here.
Yes.
We are done. You are by the member side exchanging prayers. We don't do that. Please. If you have relationship with members, meet them in their offices. So now, report is going out that we have inducted JAM registrar. No, we have not submitted any report anywhere. So don't cut off out of context, please. We have had a very good interaction with him, and nobody should preempt the decision of this committee to say that somebody is faulty or anything, please. I wish to call our attention to that. The representative of the budget office, head of service, is head of service here? You can take your leave, 90. No. I am, yes. Now, representative of the head of service, they say head of service or something, secretariat. Aside of that, I told them no. They are insisting that there is someone from head of service that want to make presentation. Where is he? Huh? Do we have factions like a federal character in head of service? Where is he? I said it's a desk officer that came for the head of service. You said there is someone that want to make presentation. SGF or head of service. Where is he? I said budget office. You people said no, it's head of service. Budget office, come and give us what you want to give us. When you came in, you said yes. I said, are you desk officer? You said no. Here, in this interaction. Okay, we will meet with you briefly in the office. Thank you.